tapping the attack button. What the fuck? Dude, I'm so sick of this bullshit already. I want to turn this shit off, dude. This is frustrating as hell, man. I'm sitting here tapping the attack button and he's not responding. The loading is terrible.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit's crazy.
Loading is fucking terrible. What the fuck is this, dude? I've restarted this match like 4 fucking times.
It's too easy. What? So what? Here I come.
Why am I tapping the attack button and he's not doing nothing?
Predictable. There's no escape.
Like, one of my buttons doesn't fucking work. Yo.
That's all. There's no escape. Now then.
Okay. What the fuck, man? Like, this shit is like really pissing me off.
Get ready. It's on.
Come now, just how long are you gonna look so dejected?
One of my buttons is not fucking working.
Tsuzuri Raiden. With this. Well, I'm not hurt. Tsuzuri Raiden.
I don't know what's going like. It took like 3 seconds for this menu to come up. What is going on, dude? Work, you stupid game. Wow. Okay, I'm going to close this and pull it back up one more time and try it again. Because for some reason, my square button's not responding.
So this is real bad. I haven't seen nothing this bad before.
Wow, this is some trash, dude. Okay, my triangle button's working. Nothing else is working. Nothing's responding. Good old Bandai Namco has struck again. 6 months ago, Bandai Namco, the king of mediocrity, released yet another cheap straight-to-DVD $10 Walmart bargain bin anime fighting game into the market. But this wasn't just any fighting game. No. This was a fighting game based on Bleach, a series that's highly controversial just as much as it is popular. Thanks to an anime adaptation of one of the show's later arcs, The Thousand-Year Blood War, the show was revived along with a sea of devoted fans. Gaming publisher Bandai Namco noticed this and decided to profit off the hype. They were to do this with a new fighting game based on the Bleach series titled Bleach Rebirth of Souls. After a terrible marketing campaign which ran on for several months before its release, which I personally covered multiple times and criticized the hell, Bleach Rebirth of Souls was finally released back in March earlier this year in 2025. The game, despite managing to sneak its way into the top 10 of best-selling games on Steam, and on the top 100 best-selling PS5 games list on Amazon, and on the PlayStation Store, quickly, rapidly, fell out of the top 10 on all 3 lists, and within less than 2 weeks after the game release, it was out of the top 100 entirely. The game was dead in less than a month, with less than 200 players daily on average. And the only thing since that has somewhat revived the player base is the release of 2 DLC characters and some updates that really don't address the major issues the game has. I explained very thoroughly 6 months ago that I was not going to support this game at full price because of the asinine choice to remove several key characters that weren't on the fighting roster for this mess. I explained that I would still cover the game, but only after it received a substantial price drop, and that it would have to be $40 or less for the asking price. Well, as it turns out, I got the game on sale for $35 from the summer sale some months ago, but I've just recently been playing through the game consistently. I have just completed Bleach Rebirth of Souls, all 3 modes, the story mode, the secret story mode, and the missions mode. I have acquired all achievements from the PC version of the game, and I've done all there is to do in the game aside from purchasing everything in the endless list of profile items in the Urahara shop. So here is my final verdict for this game. It sucks. It's terrible. Not only is it terrible, it's apathetic, it's lazy, it's jaded, and to the point of being insulting. What kind of fucking game is this? That's the question I ask myself numerous times in every play session.
I really didn't want to use this, but I will show you how it's used. Praise Gamusa! Rational beings need to have a legitimate reason to kill. I really didn't want to use this, but I will show you how it's used. Praise Gamusa! Rational beings need to have a legitimate reason to kill.
Enough of that.
It's not that the game was annoying, although at times it was. It's not that the game is lazy, although it very much is. It's that the game just seems to be very rushed, as if Bandai Namco didn't give 2 iotas of a fuck about the target audience. It's clear to me that this company truly does look down on these anime fan bases, and it shows with this game, as if it wasn't already evident with Dragon Ball Sparking Zero and Naruto Storm connections before it. It's to the point where one must beckon the question, why even bother spending the budget to make a licensed game like this if this is going to be the end result? Why bother having a professional development studio make a game like this if you're not going to make sure that the game has everything it should to please not only the fans, but also the non-fans, which you need to make this type of game successful? It makes no sense at all. Bleach Rebirth of Souls is not just a bad fighting game, it's an egregiously poor fighting game that's lacking in significant areas that make fighting games engaging. And unlike Sparking Zero or the Naruto Storm games, it doesn't even have any team-based mechanic to make up for its lack of depth. And what you're ultimately left with is a product that will only please the most hardcore of fans, which is why the sales and player retention were so poor at release, and why this game belly flopped because it didn't please anybody who takes the genre seriously. The first core mistake of Rebirth of Souls is that it doesn't have a significant number of gameplay modes. You have story mode, you have secret story mode, which is just an extension of the normal story mode, and you have mission mode. Aside from the normal mandatory versus mode, that's it. It has nothing. There's nothing here, no content whatsoever. The game places all of its faith in the story mode, and believe me when I say, this fucking story mode is the worst piece of shit I've ever seen in any fighting game. Never have I ever been so fucking bored playing a video game in my life. As soon as you pull this trash up, it becomes evident how much life is going to be sucked out of your body. It's as if I was possessed by a witch dancing nude in the woods with a voodoo doll stuck up my ass. I mean, just look at this. Seriously, look at it. This shit is for the birds. What were they thinking? The presentation is lazy. This looks like an RPG skill tree, not a story mode for a fighting game. But the presentation is just the first part of what's wrong with this bullshit, because it gets bad as soon as you enter the first sequence. In less than 30 minutes, it becomes clear that most of what comprises of this so-called story mode is nothing but a collage of low-quality cutscenes that are overabundant, overlong, and so horrifically paced that it seems you're playing the whole game in slow motion. And just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, I remembered that the fucking story mode in this game is over 20 hours long. What the fuck were they thinking? This story mode is so bad, from the lazy animation on the character models, to the strange graphical presentation of the stages, to the goddamn length, that I just couldn't take it anymore. Very early on, I started to skip the cutscenes. All of them. Only playing a few seconds of a few, and never once did I watch one all the way to the end. That's how bad this mode is. I'm the type of person who never skips cutscenes, even for games with bad storytelling. I never do that, ever. But this shit was trying my fucking patience like nobody's business. Who the fuck thought that this was a good idea? Who? This is the kind of shit where motherfuckers need to be fired. Anyone at Tamsoft Corporation who oversaw the story mode in this game needs to be handed a pink slip. Thank you for your services, but fuck off. That's the kind of shit we're dealing with. That's the level of bad this game is on, but if the story mode wasn't bad enough, it gets worse. Someone please explain to me why in the fuck is there just over 30 characters on the roster, yet all of the missing characters that should have been included on the playable roster are trapped in the story mode as boss NPCs. Who the fuck thought that was okay? Who? Yami has a character model with finished attack animations. Baragon has a character model with finished attack animations. Zamari has a character model with finished attack animations. Momo has a character model with finished attack animations. Fucking several Arankar characters have character models with finished attack animations. What the actual fuck? Why aren't these characters included on the playable roster? And miss me with that bullshit argument of, oh, these aren't fully completed models, they're just half-ass models for the story mode. Fuck that noise. They look fucking finished to me. Why aren't they playable? Then they included this stupid-ass system where you can apply items to your character to buff them. Why? This isn't an RPG. These soul crystals and talismans, as they call them, are nothing but fluff designed to waste the player's time. The fucking secret story mode. All this is an absurd extension of the story mode that fills in the gaps of what the characters were doing outside the main canon story. It's actually not a bad idea, but because they lock access to the secret stories to the main story mode, which is dog shit, and they force you to replay certain missions so that you can actually play the secret stories, it quickly becomes a repetitive exercise that's not worth the hassle. Not to mention, the secret story mode is filled with the same lazy, low-quality cutscenes from the main story mode, so naturally, I skip them. All of them. The only other gameplay mode you have in this game is Missions mode, which is basically a survival mode with 3 difficulty tiers. The first tier is comprised of 3 fights, the second is comprised of 4, and the third is comprised of 5. The last fight in tiers 2 and 3 are bosses with enhanced health pools. All 3 can be completed within around an hour. Once you complete all 3, there's no reason to go back and play them again unless you're grinding for currency, and even that is fucked because the game barely gives you any currency to begin with. You only get 300 points for completing story mode fights in both the main and the secret story modes. Again, it's like Tamsoft didn't think about what they were doing when they designed this bullshit. I haven't even gotten to the gameplay yet, but since I mentioned it, it's not very good. This game is so fucking repetitive that the only way to enjoy this is if you're a super fan of the IP. Everyone who is not a die-hard fan of Bleach will not give 2 shits about this game. They will look at the forced power-up and special attack cutscenes that constantly interrupt the gameplay, and they will want to turn the game off and go play a real fighting game. The options you have with the fighting system here are so limited that it almost feels as if the game is stuck on autopilot. You essentially have 2 attack buttons, a light and a heavy string, and a signature that may or may not be useful, and most of the time, it's not useful. You have a grapple and a follow-up attack that leads into a special. That's it. That's the whole fighting system. There is no high or low attack. Every string, every attack can easily be blocked. You have a combo breaker and combo extender that's been relegated to a meter at the bottom of the screen. You have some follow-up attacks that act as a combo extender, but the system doesn't go any deeper than that. The basic gameplay loop plays out like this. Light attack 2 or 3 times, transition to a heavy string, which also just has you mashing one button. Your opponent is knocked away. You activate follow-up and vanish behind your opponent. You tap either the light or heavy button a few times. Your combo ends, rinse and repeat in every match. Every match. Every match. For dozens upon dozens of hours, non-stop. There are no real mix-ups here. There are no footsies. There is no real strategic gameplay to be had whatsoever, and virtually every character on the roster plays the same. The signatures can largely be ignored because they're gimmicks masquerading as diversity. This game may have been marketed as a real fighting game, however, it's anything but. This fucking game was purposely designed for a brainless casual audience with no room for those that have adept knowledge and years of skill with fighting games. There's nothing here for you if you want a deep fighting experience. With the exception of 2, there are basically no alternate combo paths outside the main one I mentioned. This game is so bare bones with the fighting system that it actually fails worse than Sparking Zero. Sparking Zero has more depth than this game has, and so does the Naruto Storm games. Not only that, but what the fuck is going on with the movement in this game? They primarily map the movement to the joystick. I tried switching to the D-pad but quickly reverted back to the joystick because of how strange they designed the movement. Every action, whether you want to move right or left, backdash or forward dash, is designed as if the camera is behind the character you're controlling at all times, regardless of their position on screen. So if my opponent is facing me from the far right side of the screen, and I'm facing them back from the left side of the screen, to dash towards my opponent only registers if I press up on the left joystick instead of right on the left joystick, as I'm the player facing the screen. You know, like a normal fucking 3D fighting game. How they fucked such a basic thing up just boggles the mind into infinity. I can't stress enough how bad this fucking game is. It's just unbelievable that they thought that any of this was a good idea. The only decent thing about this game is that, yes, the characters feel like the ones from the show, and at times it does feel like you're playing the show. However, the fan service alone doesn't nearly make up for everything else that's wrong with this game. You know, being a fan of Bleach, I caved and decided to try out Unohana, who is the second DLC character, and one of the characters I predicted was going to be added post-launch months ago before this game came out. And you know what? Unohana is actually a lot of fun to play as, even if she is a tad overpowered. It's too bad that she and the other DLC characters are $8 fucking a piece. What the fuck, Bandai Namco? You greedy ass motherfuckers? And not only that, but even though Unohana is fun to play as, she still plays the same as every other character on the roster. It doesn't matter who they add to this fucking game because every future character will still play by the same rules. Because the shitty fighting system is the same for every single character on the roster. Bleach Rebirth of Souls is horrible. This game is a joke. It's insulting as a Bleach fan. It's insulting as a fighting game fan. But it's the latter that it really sucks at being. Take away the fan service, and you have a very poorly made fighting game with barely any offline single-player content, with a terrible story mode that's too long and filled with an endless amount of low-quality cutscenes. You have a survival mode that's over rather quickly. You have way too many characters that's missing, that should be in the game, on the playable roster, that are instead stuck in the story mode. You have DLC characters that are too pricey. And you have an audience that could care less because they saw the writing on the wall with this game, as I did months ago last year. I knew something was up with this game when they started releasing those shit character trailers that were just 1 minute long. If you compare those character trailers from any similar trailer with other fighting games, such as the recent Mortal Kombat games, it's night and day. The character trailers for the Mortal Kombat games showcase all sorts of unique combos and mix-ups you can pull off. Bleach Rebirth of Souls didn't have the character trailers showing anything advanced because the characters really don't have anything to work with. You have no combo list for any of the characters in this game because the game wasn't designed to have in-depth combos to begin with. This game is nothing but another lazy release from Bandai Namco, and any self-respecting fan of this series will call out this company for their bullshit. I don't care how big of a fan you are of Bleach. This series deserves better. The fans deserve better, including the dumb ones that obsess over the fictional female characters of this series. Bandai Namco, you need to do better, cause this shit right here is unacceptable. It'll be a miracle if this game gets a sequel, due to the terrible performance of the sales figures. And if Bandai Namco does decide to greenlight a sequel, Tamsoft is going to have a major upward hill to climb. This game has only been on the market for about 6 months, and it's already been forgotten. And it deserves nothing less.
If you had to describe Bleach Rebirth of Souls as a flower, what would you say?
そうですね、花でいうと、そっか、北米の方々よりも、ご存知の方がいらっしゃると思うんですけれども、ルピナスっていう花が結構このタイトルには近いのかなというふうに思います。ルピナスってすごく